forward to Leyton Orient taking on the MK Dons. Dan Nakuma with his first start, other than a friendly, and it's good to see Adam Thompson back after that long fight back from the injury. We're good. Okay, thank you. I'm all yours now.
Well, that's good news. But these two are the strikers, I take it, from looking at their notes.
Omatoy is, and Soturio is.
Yeah.
You're going to ask me about the formation next time.
Well, no, I think I don't know anything about this chap. He's midfielder.
Hector Cipriano.
Yeah.
He's been. Yeah, this is his second full season.
No. Sorry, no. Kuma.
Yes, so he's just come through the academy. He's signed a contract, and this is his first start of the new Premier.
He's a midfielder, is he?
No, he's a winger. How do you think we're going to line up?
Theo at left wing back, Connor at right. Personally,
And then Nkrumah's going to be number 10 or on the right?
Nkrumah?
I think
I think he's a striker, and then
I think Nkrumah will play behind them.
They're playing three at the back. So,
maybe.
would,
I don't really know.
is it Happy?
It's impossible to tell because you've got two left wing backs.
Yeah.
Maybe Theo right wing back, maybe.
I think they'll play. It'll be one of them at right wing back.
Yeah.
Obvious back three. Happy, Thompson, Mitchell.
Then it'll be Young and
Cipriano,
Hector.
and then Nkrumah playing where Kempton plays with Parrott on the time.
I personally think it will be Nkrumah or Omatoye, and then Omatoye through the middle, Ruel and...
I'm completely confused now.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
No one.
He's got two left wing backs.
Yeah,
Right.
one of them will play. One of them will play right.
So my money would be on Connor Wood playing on the right.
Good evening and welcome to Orient Live here from the Breyer Group Stadium. It's Papa John's Trophy action tonight and the O's face League One side MK Dons. And I'm joined by none other than Brendan Pitcher as we are going to be looking over the game for you. And Brendan, it's a slightly different competition this evening, but it's the first knockout stages and it's a chance for Orient to put Saturday's loss behind them. Yeah, definitely, and it's a chance to see some players who we haven't seen a lot of recently and players who will be looking to impress. And also, it was a disappointing performance on Saturday. These players who perhaps didn't play on Saturday and are playing tonight are going to be making a case that perhaps they should be the ones starting the league games. Absolutely. Well, there are a few players in and amongst the starting 11 tonight who will certainly have a point to prove. So let's take a look at how the O's line up this evening. In goal, number 27, Reece Byrne. Number 3, Connor Wood. 5, and wearing the captain's armband this evening, Dan Happy. Number 6, making his first competitive start in 9 months, Adam Thompson. Number 11, Theo Archibald. 15, Alex Mitchell. 17, Tyrese Omatoye. Number 20, Roel Sotirio. 21, Matt Young. 26, Hector Cipriano. And making his first competitive start for the O's is number 28, Dan Nkrumah. And on the subs bench for the O's this evening, Lawrence Vigouroux, Tom James, Harry Smith, Darren Pratley, Omar Beckles, Shad Oggy and Jeff D. Tanga. And there's a fair few changes in and amongst there, Brendan. Let's start with the fullback position, I think. It's looking as though Theo will be keeping his slot at wing-back, but Connor Wood's coming as well. You'd imagine one of them are taken up on the right side. Yeah, that is the one area you look at on that team, and there's not a natural right wing back on there. There's two kind of left-footed players who will play at wing back. Be interesting to see who does play in that role. We watched them warming up, and they've warmed up in the shape, and looks like Theo might be playing out on that side, which would be interesting. You've got Connor Wood coming in, who did okay when he came on Saturday, created arguably our best chance with that corner kick. So again, a nice balance between those two, a bit like Tom James and Theo. One's more of a natural wing back and one's more offensive. So yeah, balances well, and it'll be interesting to see how they shape up tonight. It certainly will. And looking in between the fullbacks as well, we've got the 3 centre backs. There's a couple in there that will be wanting to get back in amongst the starting 11 week in, week out. You've got Dan Happy wearing the armband tonight, but also Adam Thompson. They're both going to be looking at the side and thinking they want to start in place. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dan Happy started the season quite well and then fell out at the side, and he's played in a few Papa John's games since, and we've kept clean sheets in those games, so he's going to be looking at the goals we've been conceding and thinking, well, maybe I should be knocking on the door a bit more. And then you've got Adam Thompson, who a really experienced pro and one who came into the side in January and looked really, really impressive. Unfortunately, he picked up that injury and he's only kind of just recovered, and this is all part of his journey back to full fitness with his first competitive start. So I'll be interested to see how he plays tonight, and alongside Alex Mitchell, who we know is kind of Mr. Dependable, but perhaps won't play on Saturday because we've seen he doesn't really play. I don't think he can play in the FA Cup matches. Absolutely. Just sticking on with Adam Thompson for a second, how great is it to see him back in the starting 11? You know, he's won promotion from this league before. He's played leagues above. Hundreds of appearances. He's a great addition. It feels like a new signing almost. Absolutely. I think if he's only been here a short while, especially on the pitch in those terms, but you can tell from the impact from some of his interviews and some of the stories you hear around the club that by all accounts he's a really good character, and a lot of people kind of felt quite bad for him on the amount of setbacks he had with his injury. So to see him back out there and see how much kind of means to him, they had that great interview after the Charlton game about how much it did mean to him. So really pleased to see him out there tonight, and hopefully can be a big contributor for the rest of the season in that defence. Hopefully so. And one man who'll be hoping that those 3 centre-backs put in a good shift is Reece Byrne. He's looking to maintain his 100% clean sheet record in this competition. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a dream start for Reece, hasn't it? He's only really come into he signed his pro deal in the summer, and he's made that number 2 role his own, even though he's got Sam Sargent at the club as well. So really impressed by him so far. Hasn't really put a foot wrong. Hasn't been tested a great deal. It has to be said, defensive protected him well, but what he has done has been pretty much perfect so far. So yeah, really good. Another chance to see him, and hopefully he can impress. Hopefully so. And another big talking point, yet another Orient graduate who's getting into this first team is Dan Nkrumah. He's impressed in the youth team recently. recently signed his pro contract, and what a big opportunity it is for him tonight.
Yeah, a massive week for him, I think, because it's his first professional start tonight, and then I'm sure he'll be playing in the Youth Cup on Sunday against Chelsea. So, yeah, a big week for him, and he's a real talented player, and I think it's one that Kenny has shown a lot of faith in, because you saw in those pre-season games where we didn't quite have a full squad in terms of the signings weren't done yet, but Kenny showed a great deal of faith in him in starting him in some of those pre-season friendlies against Premier League opposition.
Absolutely, and as Brennan just touched on there, Dan and Krumah will be facing Chelsea in the FA Youth Cup on Sunday, the 12th of December. So do keep your eyes peeled for more details on how you can follow that fixture. But it was the round before against Newport, Brennan, where he really impressed. I think we'll see some clips of him. A fantastic hat-trick against Newport.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great performance from the whole youth team that night, but Nkrumah probably was the standout with his hat-trick, and he showed great quality on the ball. Some of his dribbling was excellent. He was very direct. He showed great close control, but also finishing, and that's something sometimes you don't really associate with some of these players when they normally are quite quick, quite speedy, quite good at dribbling, but his finishing was spot on as well against Newport with a hat-trick. So a really exciting prospect, and I'm really interested to see how he lines up in this front three, because we've seen normally when Dan Kemp's plays, it is kind of there's a 10 with two strikers. Tonight it'll be interesting to see whether he plays on the wing or whether he plays in behind the two strikers. I'll be interested to see that.
Certainly, and you know, he's playing alongside Rels Tiriou and Tyrese Omotoye. All three of them will be looking at the squads that, you know, started the last few games, and Smith and Drynan are in the forms of their life. They're going to have to put on a good show tonight if they need to show Kenny why they should be in that starting 11.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tyrese Omotoye probably had his best game for Orient against Charlton last time in the Papa John's Trophy. I thought he put in a real shift and looked bright. Rels Tiriou is a player who we all know what he's capable of. He's a natural finisher, perhaps maybe even the best finisher we've got at the club. So it is a case of sometimes he seems like a better option off the bench than from the start. So it's kind of these games against real tough League One opposition where Rels Tiriou can prove that actually I can do it from the start, and I deserve to be starting in this Leyton Orient team.
Absolutely. Well, the strikers will be hoping to get in and amongst the goals this evening, but it's tough opposition for them tonight as we face League One side MK Dons. And let's take a look at how the Dons line up this evening. In goal, number 23, Franco Ravazzoli. Number 2, Tanai Watson. Number 4, Zach Jules. Number 6, and their captain, Harry Darling. Number 11, he's a Snoopy boy, it's Charlie Brown. Number 15, Aidan Baldwin. Number 16, Josh McEachran. Number 17, Ethan Robson. 18, Hiram Boateng. 20, Spurs loanee Troy Parrott. And 25, Brooklyn Ilunga. And on the subs bench for the Dons tonight, Fisher, O'Hora, Twine, Moiser, Josh Martin, Harvey and Gyamfi. And they are in League One, Brendan. They're having a good season. They sit around the 5th in that playoff spot, and they are going to be a tough test for the Oaks this evening.
Yeah, they've been really impressive. They lost their manager right at the start of the season in Russell Martin, who went to Swansea, and then they've brought in Liam Manning, who is a manager who never managed in England before, but he's kind of picked up where Russell Martin left off. Many people tipped them for automatic promotion, that promotion spot in League One before Martin left, and Manning's kind of picked it up. They play a similar kind of football, and they're sitting in the playoffs at the minute. They play a real nice, tidy possession style of football. They're good to watch, and so far the results have matched it as well. You only have to look at last weekend. They beat Morecambe 4-0, so they're coming into this one on a real run of form without a game on Saturday because they're out of the FA Cup, so they'll be looking to make the most of this one.
Absolutely, and not all teams play their strongest side in this competition. MK Dons maybe not playing their strongest side, but there's still a few recognisable names in there. Who do you think the danger men are for the Dons tonight?
100%. Like there's a couple of players in there who have got real quality. I think Josh McEachran is one that stands out. He was a player that when he came through at Chelsea, people thought really big things of, thought he was a future kind of England player, and hasn't quite worked out for him because of a number of reasons, but he's at MK Dons now, and he's a real tidy passer in midfield, keeps it ticking over. And then Troy Parrott is another one who plays almost very regularly for Republic of Ireland, so he's a full international. He's a Spurs loanee. Spurs rate him quite highly by all accounts. He was out on loan in the Championship with Millwall last season. He hit the ground running for MK Dons this season, and unfortunately has been suffering about a COVID, so he's only just come back, and he'll be looking to kind of get his fitness back and get back in amongst the goals tonight here against Orient.
They've also got some pretty deadly firepower on the bench in the shape of Moiser and Scott Twine. hopefully we won't be seeing them this evening.
Yeah, they're two players that I think are real top players for League One, let alone against League Two opposition. Scott Twine's a player, if you watch his highlight reel, they're all just absolute worldies. He scores from anywhere, and Mo Ice is just a natural finisher. So hopefully they won't be hopefully Liam Manning won't be calling on them tonight, but maybe it will be a good thing if they're coming on, because it means Orient are doing well that he's having to call on his two-star strikers.
Well, on the subject of strikers and memorable ones, let's take a look back to 2011 when it was a certain Jonathan Tahui on the score sheet as the O's nicked a great win at the Stadium MK.
Both MK Dons and Leyton Orient have aspirations of making the playoffs. Leyton Orient's run of 6 wins in 10 games in all competitions is their best run of the season under Russell Slade so far. Corner only half cleared by Leyton Orient. Here's Lewington. Struck it well. Struck it very well. And Dean Lewington puts MK Dons in front. Just 7 minutes gone. And the Dons captain hits a perfect one from 30 yards out beyond Jamie Jones. The player over here, Jimmy Smith. And there's the equaliser for Orient. There's a simple goal. Smith just pulled away from his man to give himself room in the box. And the Dons held the lead for just 10 minutes. Alex Revel in the centre. Smith just held his run and got there before Tom Flanagan. Free kick taken quickly, good ball across by Rowan Vine, and Jabu Abire scores via the underside of the bar. The Dons retake the lead, and 3 goals in the opening quarter of the game. Did well there, Rowan Vine, got the cross in, and Abire. It's Dean Cox, just forced back Cox, the ball in towards Smith. And Orient have equalised again. It bounces over David Martin. And 2 goals for Jimmy Smith. Ball swung over. There were appeals for offside. It was not given. And Smith's header evades the... Bit of space here. Tehu. No, he's in round the back. There's no flag again. And Jonathan Tehu puts Leyton Orient in front for the first time. He's only been on the field 5 minutes, having replaced Alex Revel. And Jonathan Tehu in behind Sean O'Hanlon.
What a man John Tahui was. I wonder where he is now. Not in the starting 11 tonight, no surprise. But let's remind ourselves of how the O's line up to face MK Dons this evening. In goal, making his 4th appearance in the competition, number 27, Reese Byrne. Number 3, Connor Wood. Number 5, Dan Happy. 6, Adam Thompson. 11, Theo Archibald. 15, Alex Mitchell. 17, Tyrese Omotoye. Number 20, Ross Tiriou. 21, Matt Young. 26, Hector Cipriano. And 28, making his first competitive start for the O's, Dan Nkrumah. And on the subs bench, Vigouroux, James, Smith, Pratley, Beckles, Oggy and Tanga. And one player we haven't really spoken about much, I think he's gone a little bit under the radar, is Matt Young. He's performed well in this competition when he's had his chance, and maybe he hasn't received the plaudits, but he's looking a very tidy young player. Yeah,
that's the thing, like you say about him going under the radar. That's kind of how he plays a little bit. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but he does the simple things well. He's got, by all accounts, sounds like he's got a really good attitude to his football and has really good work rate there in midfield. So I think he's a player that Kenny will like in a similar way to someone maybe a bit like Craig Clay, in terms of he just gets on with his job, nothing too crazy, just does it and gets on with it. A 7 out of 10 player, and that's what I've seen from Matt Young so far.
For sure, and we've spoken about MK Dons' bench and the firepower they've got. Our top scorers sat on the bench. We've got some very strong names on there as well, should we need them. Yeah, it's a strong bench, and I think when you get to this stage of the competition, it helps to have a bit of firepower on the bench. Like, you want to rotate the side, give young players a chance, but ultimately, when you get to this stage, you want to go far. Kenny Jackett has got to the final 2 of the last 3
times this competition's been played. So he takes it seriously. He wants to take it seriously. We would all love a day out at Wembley, wouldn't we? So yeah, hopefully we can get the results there.
We certainly would like a day out at Wembley, and it continues. The road to Wembley continues here, and it's time now to pass over to Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock, and we'll see you at half time. Come on, you O's.